Hey everyone, welcome back to Between the Pages, where we chat about all the books we can't stop reading. I'm Mia.
And I'm Courtney. Thanks for joining us. Today we're talking about ACOTAR, one of the biggest books in fantasy right now.
But before we jump into our thoughts on the book, we're going to give a little more information about it first. Actor follows Farah, a young human who was once part of a rich, noble family but now faces the harshness of poverty. She is responsible for taking care of her family, and much of her life is spent hunting in the woods for food. One day while out hunting, Favor kills a wolf she believes is just an ordinary animal. Only later does she learn that it was actually a fairy in disguise. As punishment for killing the wolf, Favor is taken to Prithian, the Fey realm, by a powerful fairy named Tamerlane, who is one of the High Lords of the realm.
Once in the fairy world, Feyre is told she must live there under Tamlin's protection, as a law demands that she pay for her actions. At first, Feyre is hostile and afraid of the fairies, who are known for their dangerous and magical nature. But she soon discovers that not all Fae are as they seem. Tamlin, despite his intimidating appearance and powers, seems kind, and his court is hidden behind a curse that has plagued the land for years. Feyre is drawn into the complicated politics and secret struggles of the fairy world, where danger, magic, and ancient rivalries run deep.
As Favor spends more time in Tamlin's court, she becomes entangled in a larger mystery involving a powerful curse that has trapped the fairy lands and the rulers in a seemingly endless cycle of suffering. There are other Fey lords and figures who play pivotal roles, some of whom are more sinister than Tamlin. Feyre must navigate not only her growing feelings for Tamlin, but also the hidden dangers lurking around her. She discovers that breaking the curse may be the only way to save their fairy realm, but it could come at a personal cost.
Throughout the book, Feyre faces challenges that test her courage, resilience, and understanding of love, sacrifice, and loyalty. She learns more about her own inner strength and the true nature of the world she now finds herself in, all while unraveling dangerous secrets that threaten both the fairy realm and the human world.
So now that we've given some background on the book, let's dive into our thoughts about it. So I'm pretty much a veteran when it comes to ACOTAR. I've read the whole series and I have nothing but good things to say about it. It's probably one of my all-time favorite book series, and I love all the world building that Sarah does. It's just, I don't know, there's something about it that I don't get from other books. What did you think? This is just your first time reading.
So I usually don't read this kind of book. I like fantasy, I love all that fun stuff, but romance, not really my thing. I will say I came into this book thinking I was going to absolutely hate it, but I didn't. I enjoyed it a lot more than I thought, and that kind of makes me mad.
No, I'm so glad that you really enjoyed it, and it sounds like it was even better because it was unexpected.
Yeah. I enjoyed her like world building. Some of the characters got on my nerves, but we'll get into that later. Yeah, her world building, just the conflict, and she really does make you care about the characters as the book goes on.
Yeah, and I really like her sense of foreshadowing. She puts everything in that book for a specific reason, and it always comes up somehow later on.
Hmm.
So to get more into the character side of things, I know that we both kind of have a bone to pick with Feyre.
Oh yeah.
So what would you say your whole reasoning is for not really liking her character as much?
She she's hard headed and stubborn, and she gets on my nerves. Like I know she's had a hard life, blah blah blah. I don't really care. She's
No, right, yeah.
she is so annoying.
She does, really play into that character a lot, and I feel like because she's so stubborn, she ends up making things harder for herself, especially when she goes with Tamlin and she's in his world. She's really resistant to it at first, which reasonably so, but
Yeah,
sometimes it's just harder than it needs to be.
I agree. It's she. I don't even know. I have like 50 notes on her in my Kindle of me just like, really, girl,
Really?
really.
Yeah.
But she did get better as the book went on, and I started to feel for her a little bit more. So she wasn't as bad when the book ended. I will give her that much.
Yeah, and I'll say as the series continues, she definitely annoys me less. And I know we kind of briefly mentioned the last book, but it's about her sister, and her sister is even more, like, hard-headed than she is, and it honestly made me think that Farah is way, way better than
Yeah. Reading so because some of her sisters were in this first book. I liked one of her sisters, Elaine, but Nesta?
yeah, Ness
Ah, ooh, I have a bone to pick with her.
she gets pretty annoying, like,
Oh, yeah.
far worse than Vera.
She makes Farah look like a saint to me.
Yes, she
Gross.
So, I mean, what do you think about Tamlin? Because his character changes a lot, especially towards the end of the book and even into the next one.
I like Tamlin, which is apparently not a very popular opinion.
It's always a popular opinion at first.
Yeah.
And
So
then once you keep reading, you're like, oh,
oh.
yeah,
Yeah, so far I do like him. I think he is trying to keep Farah safe. He obviously has some issues going on
yeah,
that he needs to, like, work through a little, but I do think he is trying his best with the circumstance that's going on in his realm to trying to break this curse that was going on and trying to slowly fall in love with this human,
yeah.
which I don't think he really wanted to do at first, but it happened anyway. And I think that was kind of cute, even though it was a little Wattpad-ish.
It was, and I think for me, that's what helped get me past, like, the first 50 pages. Because at first, it was just a lot of random information, it felt like, but once, like, they had their romance, I was like, "Oh, I'm locked in,
Yeah.
I'm reading, I'm flipping through these pages."
Yeah. Same. I started the book and then I finished it the next day. When finished it, I was like 13% done, and then I stayed up like all night.
Yeah, I mean, this
I
book
devoured it.
is about, like, 400 pages, and the way that I went through it so quickly is insane.
Yeah.
But yeah, under the mountain, Thera is mainly fighting for Tamlin, and he is quite deceiving. I think their relationship starts to dwindle at the end of that book.
I see it kind of differently because Amarantha, which is the woman who we later found out was the cause of this curse, she was the curse. She was the plague. She was diminishing all of the Fey Lord's powers. She was horrible. She was not a good person.
She was very annoying also.
She was also, like, madly in love with Tamlin for some reason, so she took him.
Yeah, and she was so in love with Tamlin, but she kept Ryzan as her personal
Horror, as he's called. Oops.
pretty much, yes. And which kinda leads us into Ryzan, like, what did you think of him?
I don't like him. Yeah. I don't like him.
I feel like that's a very popular take on him, especially how he's portrayed in this book, but everything happens for a reason, we'll just say that.
True, true. But back to Tamlin, I think he did everything for a reason. He didn't look at Feyre while she was under the mountain, going through all of these hardships and trials that Amarantha was putting her through, because he was scared of what Amarantha would do to her and possibly to him if he did talk to her and, like, show her love
Yeah,
and attention. It was a way of, I think, him getting back at Amarantha
yeah,
and showing, like, our love is stronger than what you're doing.
yeah, and definitely, but I just feel like the ending scene was where I was like, "Okay, Tamlin, this was your time to, like, show who she is to you," but instead we have Ryzan who had helped bring Feyre back to life, and,
True.
I mean, he did do quite a bit of bad things to Feyre, but he also had a few pretty decent things that he did for her.
Yeah, I had some, like, really mixed feelings about him throughout, like, the end of the book, but when he pretty much sexually assaulted her for 3 months,
Yeah.
which was weird. I
Not his highest moment.
No. I get why he did it. It was kind of like he was doing it for an escape for Feyre
Mm.
because he was getting her drunk off her ass, and then she couldn't remember anything that happened.
Yeah.
But it to me, it felt a little unnecessary, but
Yeah, the repetition, how long it went on for, it was just like, "Really? Hey, we're feeling very bad for Sarah right now." But, I mean, sometimes when she would go and she would do the task that Amarantha gave her, she wouldn't come out feeling her best, or sometimes she would have broken bones, and Ryzen was the one to come and help heal her and help her, like, survive under the mountain.
Yeah, that's why I had such mixed feelings for her because for him, because I hated him, but at the same time, I was like, "What are you getting at?
Yeah,
What are you trying to do here?"
for
But
sure.
yeah.
I mean, everything for a reason. So, do you think that this is a series that you're gonna continue to finish, or was it just one book for you?
So I have started the second book. I'm about, like, halfway through it. I'm still debating whether or not I wanna, like, put it down or if I wanna keep reading it. So I'm gonna give it another chance, keep reading, see how I feel, and then go from there.
I really love that idea for you. I think that you should definitely go on to finish it. I think it will help a lot of the things in the first book make more sense.
Okay, okay. That
Definitely after reading the whole series, I want to go back and reread the first book again because there's just so many details that you just kind of skim over and I don't really mean much to you, but definitely once you know all the information, it's pretty good.
okay, okay. Maybe I will keep reading.
So out of a 5-star scale, 5 being the best, obviously, what would you give this book?
I think I'd give it a 3. It's
Okay.
not horrible,
3 strong. We can work with 3.
but it is kind of mid. Some of the character tropes to me were overused.
Yeah.
Like, oh, the poor helpless girl and, like, the really emotionally not there rich guy and
Yeah.
saving her and blah, blah, blah. Damsel in distress, not my thing, but it wasn't horrible.
Yeah. I mean, I think I give it 5 stars, but I think that that contributes because I've read the other books. If I was had just read this one, I would probably give it maybe about 3 or 4 stars, but like I said, the other ones are pretty good. So that's all we have for you guys today. Thanks for listening.
Let us know what you guys thought about today's episode and catch us in the next one. Bye.